Sorry, I'm still Googling pictures of Edgar Sandoval's wife. I mean, he had me at free motorboating, so that's what my people do, Edgar. I don't know if you're still here. Yeah. I appreciate you guys letting me go last. I did really appreciate the extra time to rest up. So I've just been feeling really run down since I've been fighting this fever, cough, body ache thing the last 4 or 5 days. Honest to God. I'll be okay. Don't worry about me. I know what you're thinking. Don't worry. I've been very careful to drink my beer straight out of the tapper over there so as not to touch any of your drinking glasses. Swirl it around in my mouth, make sure I still have my sense of taste and smell. Spit it out into one of those pitchers. What? You guys hate freedom generally or America specifically? Is there something about my shirt? Good. I'm a little bit nervous up here tonight. Sitting here tonight, I've got my mom back there, and she's here for one reason and one reason only. It's to make sure I don't swear. The good news is she's almost 86 years old, and at that age, she doesn't even know most of the cuss words I use, so I'm not shitting you on that one. Here's what I love about my mom. Earlier this year, one of my siblings took her to one of these independent living places, you know, just to look around. And after they're done, we said, "So what do you think, Mom? Is that kind of something you might be interested in?" She said, "Yeah, it is. I'm going to put that on my 10-year plan." I'm like, what's the rush? Let's round up and check back when you're 100. Maybe you'll be ready by then. I'm also nervous because we've got several distinguished guests here tonight. First among them is Dr. James DeBoard. He's not really distinguished, but I am billing him for the next 0.5 hours, so I figure that's got to be worth something. He's a retired surgeon, if anybody has any medical emergencies while we're here. Yeah, they used to call him Old Shaky over at the hospital. Well, I'm not running a pro bono clinic, so good luck. No, in all seriousness, they used to say he was the best there was. Those days he showed up sober. We are also joined here tonight by the Honorable Catherine S. Gorman. As some of you may know, Judge Gorman is the newest Chief Judge of the 10th Judicial Circuit here in Peoria. That's right. And she also holds the distinction of being the first female to hold that position in the history of the fighting 10th. Between her and that new chick mayor we just elected, women in this town are making all kinds of progress. It's like we all woke up in an episode of Xena the Warrior Princess all of a sudden. Yeah. There have been some changes since we put a woman in charge. Now, if you go to court in Peoria, jury generally comes back and just says, "If you have to ask why you're guilty, that just proves you didn't listen to me when I was talking to you." And then they sentence you to the silent treatment for the rest of the night. Judge Gorman did want me to mention that she is joined here tonight by her very single, very, very available sister, Carrie. Yeah. Go get her, boys. Carrie will be accepting fantasy suite invitations until 9 o'clock sharp. at which point she will commence the rose ceremony. So get over there. Get your bids in while you have a chance. Yeah. I know we don't want to go there, but after the year we've had, I kind of feel like we got to clear the air, talk about the elephant in the room. So I'll just say this, I'll be brief about this, and then we can move on. To me, even after 16 months, call me a science denier or whatever, I am still just not convinced that Carol Baskin killed her husband. I'm not. Did not see that one coming, did you, all you cool cats and kittens? Now, as for COVID, I am super glad that we just lost our collective mind and preemptively obliterated the entire world economy back when we had 14 days to flatten the curve. Thank God we did that, right? And who knows what would have happened otherwise? Might have found ourselves walking around an entire year later, still wearing masks like a bunch of dumbasses. I really dodged a bullet on that one. Makes me wonder how we made it through Beanie Babies and Longer Burger baskets without throwing our kids into solitary confinement for an entire year. I'm not kidding. I should have asked at the beginning, just to kind of set the table. Anybody here test positive for COVID over the last 14 months or so? Be honest. Couple. All right, that's cool. How about herpes simplex 12 or explosive diarrhea? Anybody? I mean, obviously we're just waving HIPAA COVID protection tonight. Already talked about CPAPs. If nothing else for Carrie's benefit, I think she deserves to know what kind of cleanup's going to be required tomorrow morning. By the way, if you're sitting there with 2 hands in the air right now, or 3, do us all a favor, take out your phone and deactivate your Tinder profile until further notice. You know what, Grindr and Christian Mingle too, shut them all down. And Farmers Only, Dr. DeBoer. It's for everybody's benefit. The one thing I did not miss during COVID was business travel. I used to do quite a bit of that, and it was kind of nice not doing that, but kind of starting up again. I took my first trip just in the last couple weeks, and call me an optimist, but I found myself thinking, you know, United Airlines basically was shut down for a year and a half. I'll bet they took that time and put it to really productive use to really study this whole how to run an airline thing. Really figure that out, provide an excellent customer experience. That thought was crystallizing in my mind as my plane was taxiing to the runway out in Los Angeles, rolling along, and it came to a shuddering stop. A couple minutes go by, pilot comes on, and that pilot speak says, we're going to be a little bit delayed here. I think I just hit a bus. I hit a bus on the runway with a 787. How do you like to have that conversation with your boss? I swear to God, Dave, the thing just jumped out of nowhere at me. Right in the middle of these 13,000 acres of wide open, dead, flat asphalt. Never saw it coming. And to make matters worse, a couple minutes later, he comes back on and he says, I think we got some good news. They're checking it out. They tell me it's just a couple of dents on the wing. We're going to give them a few more minutes and try to get this thing up in the air. What? Is there a living will form printed on the back of the in-flight magazine? Because as an attorney, I won't charge you for this one. That's a bad look for your average air crash disaster litigation when every deposition starts with, and tell me how soon after you noticed the broken wing did you try to fly over the Rocky Mountains? So I've been working for 28 years. I've spent about 26 of those years being delayed on United flights. And for the first time, I was super glad that we were delayed because cooler minds prevailed. They decided, let's not fly the broken airplane. So in the blink of 5.5 hours, they found a brand new one. Because apparently those are hard to come by at the 4th busiest airport in America. Guys walking around like, you guys seen one of these? They got a shit busted one out there. Yeah. Got us into Chicago at the crack of 1:45 a.m. That was awesome. There is a silver lining to this story, though. There's actually two, in fact. Silver lining number one, we are queued up to get on this plane when a fellow bus crash survivor says to me, hey, you see that guy over there? I'm like, yeah. Tall guy, dressed all in black from head to toe, standing off from everybody else, wearing sunglasses at 9 o'clock p.m. inside. That guy? He says, yeah, that's Bob Saget. And I'm like, yeah? Why is your hand on my ass? But honest to God, it was Bob Saget, you know? That one guy from that one show. Full House. Yeah. Curator. Bob Saget fan over here. He was the curator of America's Home Videos for several years, in case you didn't know. So that was silver lining number one. Silver lining number two is that upon boarding the presumably airworthy jet, the flight attendant says, we're upgrading you to first class. And I get seated right next to Bob Saget. I kid you not, yeah. Now you would think that me sitting next to Bob Saget for a cross-country flight would provide, frankly, an exciting and unique opportunity for Bob Saget. That turned out not to be the case for a couple of reasons. Mainly, that's the night that I discovered the United Club now serves all-you-can-eat burritos and free beer. And as I sat down next to Bob Saget, I realized shoving 5.5 hours of those two things into your puke hole before getting on a 4-hour flight is not a great idea. Because I had no sooner buckled in than I felt the first knock on my cargo hold. And there is a certain degree of pressure that goes along with being seated next to Bob Saget, because you just have this sense that anything you say or do or emit is going to be reported back to the Olsen twins. And I just thought, I don't know if I can live with the knowledge that they're gonna find out about what I think I need to do. So I tried my best to comport myself as one normally would in the presence of Bob Saget, but by the time we hit cruising altitude, it was a full-on Guatemalan prison riot going on down here. And I had no choice. I had to get up and go. Now I must have bumped into Bob on my way to the lavatory because he snaps too, says, hey, is there a problem? And I don't know if it was the 17 burritos talking or what, but I kind of lost it. I said, you know what, Bob? I think there is. Cousin Becky is doing a hard stretch in federal prison on some kind of fraud beef. Mary Kate and Ashley are like 57 years old. They look like a couple of prepubescent vampires. You're sitting here on an airplane full of smelly Midwesterners acting like you don't have a care in the world. So yeah, I'd say there's a problem and it's not with me, Bob. I still have 2 years to decide if I'm injured, by the way. Nothing so far. If something doesn't pop up in a couple months, I'm gonna go and get checked out by Dr. DeBoard. And trust me, if I'm not injured by then, I will be. Yeah. So who else did this during COVID? You go to the grocery store. As you're walking in, you put on your mask, like a little bitch. This is the mask that you have not washed in 9 months. This is the mask that you peeled off the floor of your car, because that's where you threw it after you wiped up whatever the dog puked in the back seat. That mask. Yeah, you smear that thing all over your face because of science and whatever. And you proceed into the store, down the first aisle in accordance with the one-way only directional arrow. And every time, within 10 seconds, you look at, oh, what do you see? Some guy going the wrong way. Now, deep down inside, you're really excited because now you've got something to be outraged about. And in America, in 2021, that's like the only emotion we have left. So you let the guy have it. Like, what are you doing, you psycho? Like, trying to kill everyone in the store? Why don't you follow me home and spit on my kids, jackass? You proceed on, and a short while later you see the can of beans that your wife asked you to grab. Only problem is it's about 3 aisles over, 12 feet up the wrong way. And that's when you say to yourself, well, I could walk all the way around, come at that can of beans the right way, but seeing as it's only 12 feet, I'll just go and grab it right now, going the wrong way, which is what you do. And within 10 seconds, you look up, and who do you see? It's a guy from the first aisle. Now he's giving you the stink eye, because he's going the right way. This is where you got to be really quick on your feet in modern America to get your outrage out there in front. So you pop off at him anyhow. What are you looking at, psycho? What do you think I'm going to give you COVID through this vomit-encrusted mask? Get over yourself, drama queen. And then the two of you continue this process back and forth for the next 37 aisles until you're done. People ask me a lot, how did I get so tough?
Okay.
And I tell them, it's because I grew up on the main streets of Morton. We've got some here tonight. We can tell by looking at you. Trust me. You guys know, it is shun or be shunned over there. I mean, you're either popping off quoting Leviticus 3:16 up in somebody's grill, or they're dropping Joshua 12:18 on your ass. Just a quick show of hands. You've already identified yourselves. Who are the Mortonites here? Yeah. All right, settle down. I'm actually surprised you guys showed up tonight. I thought Friday was the big night in the Morton swinging community. Oh, look at these two. What Morton swinging community? I don't know anything about it. she's hyperventilating. And her husband's wearing some kind of freaking pro wrestling socks. Oh, damn, I don't know what they're into.
Oh my God.
Head the other way when he shows up is what I'm thinking. No, it is true, for those of you who do not know, despite Morton's button-down, white bread reputation, it does play host to the most robust swinging community in all of Central Illinois. This is true, as evidenced by these. Yeah. But here's the thing, it's invite only. You don't ask them, they ask you. It's like Augusta National with ball gags and horse whips. I tried forever to get in and just could not ever crack the code. Somebody finally explained it to me just in the last week, and this is the God's honest truth. Write this down, because you'll probably all want to know this. The key to gaining entry into the Morton swinging community is this. What you need to do is go to Morton. It's an important first step. Go to the Kroger, grab a ripe pineapple, and walk around the Morton Kroger holding the pineapple until you encounter a like-minded degenerate doing the same thing. And that's when you know you are both DTF. Yeah. And I don't know what happens after that. I stopped listening. Stick pineapple pieces up your butt? I'm not sure. So I thought I'd try it, because my wife's always saying we never meet anybody new. Figured I'd surprise her. Turns out it's a long way over to Morton, and I've got a really bad short-term memory, so I forgot where I was supposed to go. I ended up going to the Morton Walmart instead. And then I couldn't remember what produce item I was supposed to walk around with. So applying logic, I am a lawyer after all, thought, well, we are in the pumpkin capital of the world. I'll try that. And let me just tell you, you do not want to walk around the Morton Walmart with a pumpkin. That apparently is the clarion call signaling your interest in participating in a Morton Pumpkin Festival carny orgy. I'm not kidding. I had 3 midgets and a guy with one arm trying to dry hump my leg before I knew what happened. I didn't know if I was going to make it out of there alive. I thought quick. Bought myself some cigarettes and lotto tickets. Some in the Pekin Swingers Club. Had them fight the carnies off for me. Edgar, I am forever in your debt for that. By the way, how about Yvonne Greer? How about a hand for her? Listening to her, I'm like, geez, is there anything she doesn't do other than not personally train Greg Batten? It's hard to believe that just one short year ago, the biggest thing we had to worry about around here was legalized marijuana. Anybody even remember that? We were all freaking out one day, and then the next day, You literally cannot drive to work in the morning without getting stoned off the pot fumes coming out of the car in front of you. Good Lord. And we just normalized it right away, didn't we? We're just like, yeah, there's that guy in that windowless molester van getting baked as shit while we speed through the school zone at 7:30 in the morning. What are you gonna do? It's legal. And even at that, I'm still less concerned about him than I am about the guy right next to him driving by himself with the windows rolled up, wearing a mask. Like, what are you afraid of? What do you do in that car? In the spectrum of people who are most likely to snap, I think I know which person I'm putting my money on there. Yeah. I probably should have taken COVID more seriously than I did. I did eventually lose someone very special to me. My favorite aunt. She made it to 100 and some years old.
Okay.
Breakfast has not been the same since Jemima went away. And then to lose Uncle Ben so shortly thereafter, that was a real tough blow. You know, they say though at that age, when one goes, the other one's usually not too far behind, so can't say I should have been too surprised. It was a pineapple, ma'am, if you're looking for a pen. Okay. Kroger, there you go. Anyhow, for a while I tried to cope with my grief by rebuilding my fractured relationship with the hot Indian chick on the Land O'Lakes box. But we know how that ended up. Yeah, how did we get to this place where we are right now? I mean, now most days I sit down to eat, it's just me and little Debbie. Staring at that dumb hat of hers. Shoving oatmeal cream pies into my face. Thinking back on a simpler time. Back when Jake from State Farm was a white guy. Back when Mr. Potato Head was a dude. Back when you could just sit down and watch an episode of The Muppet Show without a trigger warning explaining which puppet to be offended by. I mean, you kids out there, you might be surprised to learn that guys my age, we grew up with a simpler code. It went like this: sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, get this, words can never hurt me. Yeah. Man, put that in your soy milk, all you gender fluid snowflakes. That's why guys my age, when the recess bell rang, first thing you did was run out there and find the biggest stick or stone you could lay your hands on. Beat somebody's brains in with that. It was made pretty clear to us that words alone weren't going to do shit. You guys have been great. I want to go off script and just set the record straight on one thing that Greg talked about. He used the pejorative term porn shop. I think the proper name is Lover's Playground, Greg. What I love about Lover's Playground is right across the street from Lover's Playground is what? A child care center. Somebody had this idea. Let's put a daycare center right here with a strip club across the parking lot here, a porno bookstore over here, and a pawn shop over here. How could that go wrong? How will society not benefit from those kids? You guys look like responsible parents. You guys all remember that talk? Hey, where are we going to put our kid in daycare? Well, let's triangulate a place that's got the closest proximity to a porno bookshop, strip club, and a pawn shop. And Dad's got to do something while he's waiting for drop-off time, right? I appreciate you guys tonight. I was nervous coming up here. I did that thing that you get taught in high school speech class where they say, try to imagine your audience naked or in their underwear. You guys remember that? Yeah, that worked pretty well tonight. And about halfway through this, I saw somebody out there who looks just like Mary from the Goods Furniture commercials. And I was nervous for a whole different reason. I believe in being totally honest with my wife, so I told my wife when I put her on my list, guys, you know the list, 5 famous people you're allowed to sleep with, no questions asked, should the opportunity arise. I told her, honey, she's going up on the big board. Right between Mariah Carey and Jessica Rabbit. Sometimes she doesn't appreciate that intimate level of honesty, but this time she didn't miss a beat. She said, that's cool. I've had Paul Sherman on my list for as long as I can remember. Right between Magnum PI and that creepy weirdo from the My Pillow ad. That caught me by surprise, but it sure did explain the excellent same-day delivery we got on that dishwasher last year, so I can't complain. Thank you all.